From the 11 Plus Tutors. Today I thought I'd do a walkthrough of the last year's paper, so that's now been released for CSSE, just the types of questions. I'm not going into specific details of the paper, I'm just looking at the types of questions that are coming up now. Now, I've been doing this long enough to see an evolution over time. I think we've moved quite far away from just finding direct answers in the text. So this is very much an exam that's testing proper and full understanding of what's really going on in the story. So children, I'm always very upfront about this with kids, that you've got to try and really understand, so you've got to read it a couple of times at least. The who, what, when, where and why. So, I've just summarised what I've seen from last year's paper. I can't really put last year's paper up on the screen because, of course, due to copyright considerations, I'm not allowed to create digital copies of it. So I'm just summarising here. There are one or two yes and no questions in the paper with the tick box, but please don't be fooled into thinking that that's going to be a really easy answer, because sometimes that can be an inference-based question. So you might not find a direct answer to the yes/no in the text. It may be suggested. So that's really important. And sometimes we see yes/no questions with a second part to it with explain your answer. So it's gone from a tick box, a multiple choice, through to a proper full explanation type answer. The next I'm going to talk about, so I pulled out, this is a summary of it. Why are they nice? This is a person. Of course, I always tell kids never to use this word in the writing, nice. But you're looking for reasons in the text. So that involves proper understanding, and then explain in your own words. So it's not just, we're more sophisticated than just copying out parts of the text. We're summarising. So it could be an idea in your preparation towards the exam. Give a child a paragraph of text, ask them to summarise it in their own words and see if they can do that, because that's a skill in itself, I think. And it's quite a high level skill, really, when you think about it, being able to summarise something. I remember us having lessons of that as an undergraduate when I first started uni, about how to summarise what's being said in a lecture. So I think that's a very high level skill, being able to explain something in your own words. Then we've got the question type number 3, is that, what is ... But then the second part is explain your answer. So again, you're justifying yourself. In all of these open answer type questions, here's another thing, we must remember SPAG, spelling, punctuation, and grammar, because there are some marks, not all the marks, but some marks available for this. And that's you can quite clearly see that on the mark scheme. So must be capital letters, full stops, must be written properly if it's an open answer. Very, very important, because you can lose a lot of marks by getting the answer right but not writing it in proper sentences with bad spelling. Really important. The other type we've seen over the last couple of years is actually quite helpful, I think, where they give a quote. They actually have taken the quote, the words from the text, because some kids still don't know what quote means in year 5. So we teach them it means the words from the text. They've actually taken them out for you. So what's quite good about that is you don't actually have to go back and refer to the text. They have a paragraph there, but they do ask the child to go into the what and the why of it. So they have to understand what's being said there. But if they ever say, use the word quote or quotation, they used to use the terminology words from the text. Now they're calling it quote. So children must be aware of the word quote. The other thing I'm starting to see more of in the CSSE exam type is the idea of character. And this is something I make a big deal of in my tuition, is being able to describe a character, the physicality, what they look like, what their voice sounds like, that kind of thing. But also their personality. And when we look at describing people with our writing, we look at personality, adjectives and things like that, specialist language. I think that character description, vocabulary will also help with this type of thing in the CSSE. And then you've got another type, which is what is blah, 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 and then give reasons. So I think to summarise this, The move here is very much, they want the child to go into the text and behind the text and really read off all the inferences, I'm afraid, look for clues. We've really got to get good at looking for clues in the text. That's just so important. And the thing with us teachers see time and time again is their answers are too brief. They're losing marks because they're just not giving enough information. If you look at the mark scheme for CSSE for last year's paper, you'll see, there are a lot of points, and they also make notes about things they don't accept as answers. If they're too brief with their answer, if they don't go into enough description, they can lose a lot of marks there. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's just a very brief summary of what we've seen from last year, and really more about the types of skills that we're looking for in comprehension now for CSSE. I hope that's been of some use to you, and I hope you enjoy your half term and your bank holiday weekend. Thank you. Goodbye.